Hey, David.
Hey, how are you, Robbie? How'd your New Year's go?
Uh,
Great. Are you okay? Are you feeling better from the flu? I know you had the flu. How was that?
oh yeah, I'm doing all right. It was pretty rough.
Well, it's great that it's great to see you better now then. Cool. So obviously just want to make sure that I keep this meeting pretty optimized just because I want to make sure that have your time here with me very limited and very efficiently. I know we had our last call, obviously what I want to do is just go over from our last call exactly what it is that you mentioned to me, the exact problems and the exact solutions that we have to offer. And pretty much me and my developers did create you a full game plan and full blueprint of exactly what it is that you need on just the problems and the systems that you're looking to optimize for. So without further ado, is that something that sounds fair enough and we should be good to go? Does that sound fair enough for you?
Okay.
Okay, solid. So our last meeting, let me see, let me just pull it up here real quick. I know you mentioned that the biggest things for you that were a bit, obviously looking to optimize was that, if I'm trying to pull it up here. You're essentially doing everything manually, right? I mean, you're essentially doing everything yourself, not on the admin side, but and the service side, but you're essentially looking to do more admin potentially in the future, right? You're
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
to kind of transition into that period.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So when you say that, that also means you're doing the bookings, you're doing the calls, you're doing the scheduling, you're doing any invoices. You're pretty much doing everything on the admin side, correct? Or is it
Yeah.
just like one particular thing that you're doing?
Now I do it all.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But you also have technicians, so you're looking to transition out of that,
Yeah.
correct? Okay, gotcha. So another thing is with that, obviously, I know you mentioned that you don't really have an automated follow-up sequence in place. For example, most of your clients that you're getting are coming to you, but you just have no way of getting back to them or, having a way to pretty much have them come back to you, right? You're always just relying on them just reaching back out to you, but that's not really an effective way to essentially get clients and pre-existing clients coming back, right? Because I mean, most people aren't, you can't just rely on them coming back to you, right? So you
Yeah.
don't really
Yeah.
have a follow-up sequence in place. Is that
Which
correct?
is why we rebook. We rebook when we clean them,
Okay.
so they get rescheduled.
Okay. And what happens if do you usually have times when they say like, let me think about it or I'll reach back out to you? And
They do, and I've pushed them into going ahead and giving me a date. Basically, let me check back with you in 6 months, and I go ahead and put them down for a tentative date that I come back in 6 months when they come up in the calendar, and I call them up and say, "Hey, how are you doing? It's been 6 months since we cleaned. Are you looking at going back on our schedule?"
hmm. And that's the thing though, right? I mean, that's something that we can definitely fix because here's the thing. You can always have those clients in your pipeline and in your, spreadsheet saying like follow up with them in the next 6 months, right? But it's essentially taking time out your day. It's taking energy and effort, right? What if you had a system where instead of you always having to reach out to them in the next 3 to 6 months or whatever it is that you're, usually reaching them out to, what if you had something or someone or a system in place to have them reach out to you instead of you having to reach out to them, if that makes sense. Has that ever came
Nope.
across, or have you always just been doing that up until
I've
now?
just always done it. Yeah.
Hmm, interesting. Okay.
Which is different from the last company I worked for because they were basically one time. If you booked with them, they never focused on rescheduling you. And I always thought that is a waste of energy. You went
Yeah.
and you got a client and you cleaned them one time and you don't try to get them rescheduled. That's a waste.
No, it definitely is. I mean, like, don't tell me who that company is, because I mean, at the end of the day, like they're doing something very wrong. um, so let me ask you this, because I believe I forgot the last time we talked, because this was before Christmas week. Um, are most of your clients coming in? Are they new or are most of them pre-existing?
Most of my clients are pre-existing. I have over the last 2 years gained a lot more new clients coming on board than what I had.
Mm, gotcha. Okay. So more pre-existing, but you're looking to optimize for more new clients coming. Are you able to handle more new clients at this time and stage or
Oh, yeah. Yep.
okay, gotcha. So you're able to handle more new clients, which is perfect. That's definitely something that we're optimizing for. And you're getting pre-existing clients already from what you're doing, right? But we can definitely
Right.
optimize that more. Um, Another thing as well is you also mentioned that you were essentially doing Google reviews. So most of your clients, some of your clients are also coming from Google reviews as well, right?
Yeah, not very much off of Google reviews. I'll just be honest.
Really?
I don't get many follow-ups coming from Google at all.
Hmm. Okay. Why is that? Is it because of, oh, you mentioned that you were over in the range of 4.3 to 4.5, right?
Yeah, yeah, but if you look, that's only like 6, 7 reviews over. I've been in business since 20, what is it, 20, 2010, 11, somewhere in there.
2011. Okay. So you've been in
Yeah.
business for over a decade and you only have 6 to 7 reviews?
That is my point.
Mm,
That is my point. There's not a whole lot that's coming from the Google reviews. Of course, I don't push them to give me a review. So, a lot of my clients have come over the years from word of mouth, and or they catch one of my crew out cleaning a commercial job and say, "Hey, do y'all clean houses?" And so that's how that mutates into a client that we end up keeping on the books from that point forward.
okay. Gotcha. Well, that could be an issue just because obviously I mentioned that you're getting more pre-existing clients coming in rather than you. But I mean, Google SEO is funny, right? Whenever someone types in window washing near me, the fact that you only have 6 to 7 reviews means that you're probably at the bottom of the list, right? And most people, when they just click window washing near me, they're always going to either click the first or like the top 5 that show up, right? And most of the
Yeah.
time, when they do show up, it's always, like it's always like 100 reviews. It's always like at least anywhere from the range of the clients that we're working with that are like on top of SEO from just the Google reviews. It's in the range of anywhere from like 40 to 60 reviews. So
Yeah.
you're not that far off, but I mean the fact that let alone that you have been in business for over a decade with only 6 to 7 reviews, I mean it's not alarming. It's not too alarming, but I mean it's definitely something that you need to definitely take focus on or initiative on, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Is that, and you also mentioned that you don't have any like system in place for that, right? Like you just pretty much
Yeah.
ask them to rebook and then you don't ask them to like, hey, do this for 20% off the next time or like no
No,
incentives.
no.
Wow. And why is that? I mean, has that not ever came across for you or were you
I've
just kind
not ever thought about incentivizing a review. One, typically I'm not the highest person out there, so to give them a discount on something that I'm not that expensive compared to everybody else is kind of like shooting yourself in the foot.
yeah, 100%. What's your normal package like looking like? Because I know most companies have higher packages and other incentives. So what's like your normal typical?
Well, it's not really packages. It's based on the number of windows that you have at your house.
Okay,
So,
let's say
for example, if you've got 50 windows, that would be $500, and that gets you your windows clean, your seals wiped, and screens cleaned
okay.
and set back in.
Okay, so you do the sales screens and you do okay, gotcha. And then you said that was 100 or 1,000 for 50,
If 50 windows is $500.
50 for 500. Okay, that's not bad. I mean, I know some other clients we're working with that it's honestly 50 windows is like 1,000 for them. So that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, so I mean that's another problem. Obviously we can
But
definitely work.
window cleaning is also where you're located too. I follow some people online that do their little window cleaning videos and stuff, and I see how much they're making, and I'm going, that won't fly out here. So,
Hmm.
your market takes care of a lot of stuff. For example, insurance premiums are cheaper out here in North Carolina than it is in, we'll say, for example, Missouri or just in the state of South Carolina to
Hmm.
do this same business. The premiums for doing this job are so much higher in South Carolina than they are here in North Carolina. So it drives the price for what it costs.
Okay, gotcha. So just everything we've shared so far, right? And like even on our last call as well, like the last 2 weeks ago, it's you and you can totally correct me if I'm wrong, right? It's you and 6 technicians. Your main goal right now is to shy away from the service side and do more of the admin work yourself, and
Right.
essentially doing everything manually at this time. Instead, you're calling people up, you're doing the schedules manually, you're doing the follow-ups as well, like, every 3 to 6 months manually. You're not really doing any reviews as well. You're also doing calendar management as well, right? I know you mentioned on our last call, you typically like to work with more residential than commercial. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. So with everything being said, I mean, we pretty much, before I do get to, our presentation slide that I built out for you, like the exact blueprints, is there anything in terms of everything that we've discussed so far that you want to add on in terms of like any optimizations, any problems that you're still currently working with, but you didn't mention to me? Is there anything else that you want to add on before we get to that presentation I want to show you?
No.
Okay, solid. Then here's what I'll do. So let me show you my screen here real quick, Robbie. Let me know if you can see my screen here. Give me a quick second here. Okay. Okay, let me know if you see my screen here, Robbie.
All right, I got you.
Okay, solid. So you're looking at the screen right now here, right? And here's the thing with this. Obviously, I'm not going to go full in depth of like who we are and what we do, just because I want to optimize our time together that we have here today. So here's the deal, right? These are essentially the problems that you're facing, the main ones. Obviously, there's other things that we can definitely help you optimize, but we discussed with our developers that these are the biggest things that could, if you do fix, right, is the biggest move when you need to moving forward things for you within the business, right? Which is obviously manual owner dependent operation. So you're essentially, what this means is you're essentially doing everything manually. And we want to make sure that even if you do transition into admin, right, we want to make sure that we still help you on every aspect of admin side without you always having to juggle pretty much. Also pretty bad because it can lead to time being the bottleneck for you, meaning you probably won't have as much time to spend, maybe with your family. It could be not having too much time to focus on other aspects of the business. If you just keep on doing these manual like maintenance work, admin stuff by yourself, it's going to, definitely help you. Well, it's not going to help you, but it's going to definitely give you a bottleneck in terms of timing, right? And we don't want that, because we want to make sure that you focus on other aspects of the business instead of always having to do just maintenance work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is you don't really have a centralized customer system, right? And what this means is you're essentially doing everything on a spreadsheet. Like you just mentioned to me right now, every single person that you book and then finish a job with, you usually just put them on a spreadsheet for 6 months and always call them on that spreadsheet, right? But what if we had a system built up for you where instead of you always having to reach out to them, they can always reach back out to you by just giving them like promotions, like if you want, right? It doesn't have to be promotions. It can always just be like just follow-up check-ins, how I checked up on you with my system, right? And like, hey, are we still good to go? Just confirm with a yes. It's pretty much those types of systems where we make sure that you're still in the loop, that they still have you in mind, because most people are going to forget about you in the next, like, honestly, 2 to 4 weeks, right? And we don't want that happening. So we want to make sure that you're still in the loop and that they're coming to you instead of you making the effort to go to them, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So with all that, being implemented, obviously we can help you in terms of, putting in systems to help you not miss any more calls, because each call is missed revenue, right? In terms of just home service-based business, and especially in the niche that you're in, every missed call could be led to, growth opportunities, right? Could be led to revenue. And another thing is implementing these automated follow-up sequences can save you heaps of amount of time, because you're always reaching out to them. But if they can reach out to you, then you can save up so much of your time, right? And then obviously inconsistent review growth, just implementing these Google reviews, because like you mentioned, you only have 6 to 7 reviews in the over a decade of business that you've been in. So if you just grow that, you don't really need to do any marketing. You don't need to be doing any $1,000 SEO optimizations. You can just, you can increase your business and you can increase marketing by just having these Google reviews implemented, right? And like we have some clients that have these Google reviews implemented onto their website as well. So I'm not too sure if that's something that you want to do, implement it in your website, but you can always have those reviews on your website as well. So it's more professional, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the biggest thing, right, is seasonal calendar gaps. The biggest thing that we've seen with our clients is like there's going to be always a season where it's super just like bone dry. Like there's no clients coming in, there's no clients calling. And I'm pretty sure you have typical seasons like that, right? For example, like last
now.
It's now, you said?
Yes.
Mm, okay. Well, that's what we don't want to do, right? And that's exactly why we have these Google reviews implemented, just because, we want to make sure that you don't have these, calendar gaps every single, month, right? And you mentioned that you do window washing and pressure washing as well as gutter cleaning, right? Or you just do window washing in general?
I don't do gutter cleaning. I do everything else you listed there.
Okay, so pressure washing and window washing. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, gotcha. Well, I mean that's everyone still needs to do pressure washing and they still need window washing. Like no matter the time of month, I know, most people feel, I honestly it's a misconception, right? I mean, the clients that we're working with, most of them tell me it's misconception, but that's exactly, why we want to make sure that we optimize that you don't have these gaps in your calendars by implementing these systems, if that makes sense.
Right.
So let me ask you this. I mean, with everything being said right here, like how much time do you feel like it's just waste? Like, I wouldn't say wasted, but you're putting in every single day that's just into these like admin work every single day. Like you're calling these leads, you're calling these leads to follow up with them. You're sending out emails. Like how much time do you feel like you're essentially putting in towards all these, systems and admin?
I probably could put in more, but I really don't put in a whole lot of time into it. Usually I just shoot for trying to make sure it's full, and then if I have a hole in my schedule, I've got a list of people that have asked, hey, if you have a cancellation, I'd like to be put in there. And so usually I can fill the empty cancellation or somebody canceling on me within 25-30 minutes of a cancellation.
Okay, gotcha. But how long does that even take? Like, I mean, with because you're doing this manually, right? So like, how much time are you actually putting into these every single day? Because what if you had a system implemented to do this for you instead of you always having to do that yourself?
The way I've got it set up, I've got it pretty streamlined. I'm
Hmm.
using the calendar and stuff, and so with everything being said, everything's in there. Um, so basically, I spend about 15 to 20 minutes a day calling the clients to verify that they're still on schedule, that we're still good to come, and that's it.
Okay, gotcha. So with everything being said, right? Obviously, this is the next slide, and this is what I want to talk about right here, right? Which is essentially the solution that we have to offer, right? This is pretty much the blueprint that we have built out for you, because obviously with everything we said so far on the problems that you have, this is the exact blueprint that we have built out, right? And what that consists of is actually having these automated follow-up and reactivation campaigns. So what that means is, obviously we want to make sure that we follow up these, with these leads, and that you follow up with these clients. So instead of you always having to text them or call them, confirming that you're still good to go with them, you want to make sure that you have these automated systems in place. That way, instead of you always having to reach out, they reach out to you, right? Just how you did to me, correct? So we can have that on top of reactivation campaign. So whether that's the next 2 months, the next 3 months, the next 6 months that you want to essentially get back to them as pre-existing clients, they wash their windows again. We want to make sure that they're in the reactivation campaign stage. So let's say if a client does reach out to you in the next 2 months that they promised saying that they'll contact you back, we make sure that they're in the reactivation campaign, and we send them a call, or we notify you as well if you want to call them. When we can essentially have an AI call them, but if you don't want that in place, we can always just notify you saying that, hey, this client said that they were going to reach out to you in the next 2 months, but they didn't, and you can always reach out to them. That way you don't have to always like track everything on a manual spreadsheet. You'll just get one notification and you'll be like, okay, I got to call this lead. So you call them if you want to be more personalized, if that makes sense. Right. And number two is having a more automated review engine, right? Meaning these Google reviews, you only have 6 to 7 Google reviews. We want to make sure that we bump those up because, we want to make sure that, I'm not too sure if you're doing any marketing here and there, right? But let alone just Google reviews, let alone if you have at least, a 4.8 rating star along with at least 30 to 40 to 50 Google reviews, you don't really need marketing because, I'm pretty sure you stay pretty local, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So that's something that we can also definitely help you optimize. Another thing is we can also help you with client tracking, right? How are you exactly tracking everything right now? Like, is it in the software, or like you mentioned, is it just like in the spreadsheet when you are tracking your clients?
What's your definition of tracking?
For example, like who's in, who's in the reactivation campaign? Like, for example, like who has booked on, who hasn't booked on, who has called but never booked on, who has,
Um,
asked for estimates.
really, there is no way of tracking if they miss two basically if they miss two schedulings with me, they're kicked out. So I mean, unless I go back trying to drum up work, for example, during the slow time I did this last month, I went through and seen started looking for clients that I hadn't seen in a while and pulled them back up and called them to see, hey, what happened? I hadn't seen you in a while, and got them back on the schedule.
Hmm, gotcha. Okay. And that's all just tracked on like a spreadsheet, essentially, like just on your phone.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, like I said, we can definitely optimize that. And then number four is more so of like a structured path for your clients, right? Obviously,
Yep.
your clients, you want to make sure that every single client that you have is, a pre-existing clients. You want to make sure that they don't always go to a different company, and you want to make sure that they always stick with you, right? So being able to just have these clients and always stick with these pre-existing clients, by just making sure that your availability, that you have the client journey. For example, like when they do book on, I know a lot of companies have a very hectic structure on how to book on an appointment, right? So we want to make sure that we optimize that and we actually optimize those systems. That way, you're able to make the client journey a bit more smoother, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Gotcha. So, with all that being said, right? Obviously, I want to go to the next one. I'm not going to go too much in depth on why most businesses fail. You pretty much know why. It's just because they don't really have the systems in place, and that's why most fail. A lot of businesses that I'm working with, a lot of clients that we are working with, they're just trying to get clients coming in. But I mean, what's the point in getting clients when you can't handle these clients, right? So that's why that's why we do what we do in terms of just implementing these systems for you. So with all that being said as well, right? I mean, these are just the numbers of exactly what we've helped our clients work with in terms of like being able to help them scale, right? For example, one of our clients, they were doing everything, like they were doing something pretty similar to you as well, right? I mean, they were doing everything manually. They were always calling these leads. Most of the time, they were always on the field, so they didn't have the time to get to these leads, right? The people that were calling. So we essentially created a system for them to help them save 48% of unanswered calls. So that's pretty much 62% of being able to get back to these calls, right? So that's what we have optimized for. Three is more, two is more so like 3x higher conversions, right? So for example, we've implemented these systems in and we've seen an ROI for them 3x, right? Because obviously, if you trade time for money, it's not really going to work. So you want to make sure that you always optimize for more time. And that way you're able to focus on other aspects of your business to be able to, help you scale more quicker, right? And then obviously we've also helped this other client we're working with save 20 plus hours each week just by eliminating manual tasks. And I'm pretty sure this is where you're at in terms of like what you're doing right now, right? I mean, you're doing everything manually, not sure how much, specific time you're putting into these. You mentioned to me that you're not really doing as much, but you should. But at the end of the day, if you just have these systems that help you save 20 plus hours each week, you can definitely, focus on other aspects of the area, like aspect areas of the business to actually help you scale more quicker instead of always having to do more admin work, if that makes sense, right?
Yep.
So that's essentially how it works, right? And this is how it's going to work as well, right? What you actually want is control over consistency, right? Because imagine a business that runs with like the process of like just making sure that everything's just clients. Like a lot of these other businesses just want clients coming in, and we want to make sure that we optimize these clients to make sure that you can handle those clients coming in, right? So that's why we built these out. We want to make sure that we get you these instant responses. We have zero admin drag, and we want to make sure that you have more, scalable growth inside the company and the business. So this is how it's going to work, right? So if we do move forward with this today, this is how it's pretty much going to work. So the first, obviously, we did the diagnose operations. We diagnosed what your problems were, and we created a blueprint for you exactly on what we can do to fix you and to fix what your problems dealing with right now. So the next step for us is to essentially build out the custom systems, right? So what we're going to do is just based on the problems that you're facing out right now, we're going to build out the solutions to what you need. For example, the reactivation campaigns, the follow-up sequences, making sure that these clients aren't lost in your pipeline. We create you a dashboard. That way you're able to track your clients, right? So what we're essentially doing is creating these systems for you. And then once we're done with that, we're going to make sure that we get your approval, see that this is something that you really need, and make sure that this is something that you approved before. Because once we do build out these systems, then we can always change it. But we want to make sure that once we do deploy these AI systems for you, we want to make sure that this is something that is 100% working and 100% in your favor, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So once we do that, once we do deploy that system for you, we essentially just optimize the scale. If you want to add more, for example, if you're getting too many clients, we can always optimize AI voice agents. To be honest for you, just to give you my perspective, that's not something that you need right now. You don't need an AI voice agent because you're not getting as many clients that you can handle. So we want to make sure that we just create these systems first. And obviously, once you do get more clients coming in, we can always optimize for more systems in place, if that makes sense. Gotcha.
All right. Would they be able to do a booking? I'm just asking. Let's say they called, because most of my phone calls are calling and asking me about scheduling. Would the client be able to book their own appointments
through a AI voice agent?
Yeah.
Yes, they are able to. What we can also do is if you want here, I'll show you a quick thing for you. Let me share my screen again. What we can also do is we can implement an AI voice agent on your specific website that you want to be on. So that way, instead of people always having to contact you, they can essentially just have an AI right here, start a call, and they can always book on here. So for example, I'll give you a live demo. If someone says, I want to book on, the AI can pretty much customize everything. So if they even want estimates, right? If they say like, what's the price? The AI can essentially like chat with them, see what exactly it is that they're working with. If they say like, oh, 5 windows, I have like, 25 windows, I'm working with 30 windows, and it can give an estimate by us customizing this agent for you. So, you can obviously like, hey, I'd be happy to help you book on an appointment. So, instead of them always having to reach out to you, you can always have an AI reach out to them and handle everything from there.
Okay. And would I be able to block the calendar out to where I don't want me getting my calendar overbooked?
Yeah, 100%. As long as you mark, the AI can do that. Our systems that we do create can help you automatically just block out some times for you. But if you want to manually do that, then make sure that it's always on busy. So on your calendar, because you use Google Calendar, correct?
No, I use iCloud.
iCloud. Okay. Well, it's essentially the same thing. So as long as you just put something there saying that it's busy, the AI is like, for example, if someone calls and it says like, hey, can I book on for 3 p.m.? But let's say that you already are booked for 3 p.m., right? A 3 p.m. slot. Then the AI is always going to redirect them saying like, hey, we don't have a 3 p.m. available, but we do have a 1 p.m. along with a 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. available as the nearest time. So it can always reroute the call or the time.
And so it would know, for example, I would probably have to put in the parameters. For example, if a house is so much money, we'll use that 500, for example. We would have to put in the parameters that it would know to block out 3 hours.
Yeah, and we always do that. Like we like anything that you want to customize on the agent, we can help you customize it. For example, if you want to block out 3 hours in advance, we can tell the agent and we can customize it to do that. So like, for example, if the job is anywhere from, if it's at 3 p.m., right? And you mentioned that a typical job for you guys is 3 hours long, right?
Well, it's not typically, but I'm saying I was just using that one. Most of them's about 2 hours.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, we can customize it where it can block out the time from 3 to 5 p.m. So the next appointment could be anywhere from like 6. So we can definitely block out those times.
Yeah, I just based upon dollar amounts, I know how long it takes to get a job done. So that was what I would need the computer to look at that and go, all right, well, it's this size job. This is how many hours it needs to block out.
Correct. Yeah. And we can customize that. I mean, as long as you tell us, we can essentially put that into the computer and the systems that we do create, and we can optimize that for you. So that's not really an issue.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the deal, right? I mean, obviously, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of exactly what our clients have to say, but this is just for an example. You can feel free to take a screenshot. Always look at this. I can definitely send you over this whole presentation as well after this call. But this is the guarantee that we do have, right? And obviously, most companies need a guarantee because obviously we make sure that we optimize everything for our clients as much as possible, right? So here's the deal, right? I mean, if you don't see the value in the results for the first 45 days, because that's typically how much time it does take for you to see the results and the value of how much time you're able to save along with the revenue, it usually takes us 45 days to make sure that this is fully optimized. And if you don't see the value and results, we'll be more than happy to give all your investment back, or we can also work with you until it does. So that's our guarantee.
Okay.
Because obviously AI is something very, very new, right? And I'm pretty sure you optimized AI before within your business or in general, or has that never
No,
come?
I personally hate AI.
Really? Okay. What's making you want to be on this call and just make sure that you optimize these systems using it?
Well, there's things that I like about it, but one of them that I don't like is there's certain things that they can't replace a human intervention, which is one. I'll give you the one of my biggest ones. I don't know if you have a Bojangles where you're at, but Bojangles has went fully AI for their drive-throughs, and AI works great for most parts, but it doesn't know when to shut up. When I'm
Yeah.
done placing my order, I'm done. Don't ask me 500 more times. Can I get you something else?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And here's the thing with AI, right? I mean, it's great at the end of the day. It can definitely help you out on a lot, but I mean, there's still a lot of things it can't do. There's a lot of stuff it can help you out with, but there's a lot of stuff it can't do as well, right? And a lot of people are trying to make it seem like it can do all this for you, but it really can't. But I mean, what AI can help you do is definitely help you out on every aspect of the business in terms of anything admin side related, anything, that you feel like is taking up a lot of time. AI can definitely help out with that. It's not going to completely replace it, but obviously it can definitely help you instead of having to hire in, multiple people doing it for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's our guarantee. And here's essentially what the investment pays for itself, right? So this investment, we didn't just throw out random numbers out here just because we thought it was cool. We made sure that we talked to our developers. We made sure that we systemized everything and made sure that we calculated exactly how much time you're losing, why you're not really increasing revenue, and we make sure that we calculated all of that, and we came out to 1,500, right? And that's just one time. We're not going to be charging you 1,500 every month because that's not feasible. Because most of our clients that we work with, we make sure that the pricing is feasible, and we make sure that the investment pays for himself, right? So what is it? It's going to be 1,500, implementation fee, and it's going to be completely done for you. And what this package is included is you're essentially going to get your own dashboard of every single client that you have right now. And we're pretty much going to import that into the separate dashboard that you can also look at as well. So you'll still get your dashboard. You'll still have the clients that you're working with on your own spreadsheet, but you can also have another software that you'll be able to look at it more optimized, right? So you'll see the client that who are in the nurture pipeline. You'll also see the clients who are in the 6 months as well. So if you will ever want to reach out to them as well, you can. It's more organized, right? It's more of an organized dashboard. Another thing is you're also going to get automated bookings and pre-booking links. So for example, if you want to make sure that you don't always have to call them just to follow up with them saying like, hey, are we still good to go? We want to make sure that this is completely done for you. So we want to make sure that they make the effort to reach out to you and to make the effort to confirm with you instead of you always having to confirm with them, right?
Okay.
Another is missed call capture and lead intake systems, right? So we want to make sure that, whenever someone does, reach out to you, or if they want to, schedule an appointment with you, we want to make sure that they aren't always giving you over call, because I'm pretty sure you don't want to always have to answer calls day in and day out, right? So at that point, what we can do is we can create an AI voice agent, but you're not really getting as many clients at the moment that you can handle that way. So that I'm pretty sure, this is just my perspective here, right? In terms of just using the AI voice agent, it's going to be a little bit more costly, right? But I don't think that's going to really move the needle forward for you right now. And we can definitely optimize for that later down in the line once we do optimize these systems first, right? So that's what we can do as well. We can also help you with the calendar optimizations as well as scheduling automations. So instead of, the client always having to call you, we can have an automation set out for them to always, schedule it for themselves, and then always, optimize that as well. So, let's say someone does schedule for 3 p.m., the calendar can optimize it for blocking off anywhere from 3 to 5 p.m., right? Or just a typical thing, right? Okay. And what we can also do is, this included in this investment, they can have post-job follow-ups and reactivation campaigns. So let's say if someone does want to book on again with you in the next 2 to 3 months, they'll get inserted into a pipeline, into a sequence saying like, this client is going to be, booking on with you in the next 3 months. If they don't, then the system will reach out to them saying like, hey, you booked on with us 3 months ago. we want to make sure that we stay in the loop. Are you still looking to get your window washed again, right? So we want to make sure that we're still present, because once a job is finished, we want to make sure that we're still present and not forever lost, right? Because once a client comes in, you want to make sure that you actually have them in your pipeline. You actually have them as a pre-existing client, right? So that's another thing we can do. And then obviously this is a full system. So we're essentially also adding in Google review and SEO system. So after every job appointment is finished, we can always send them a SMS like, hey, how'd your job go with Robbie? How'd your job go with XYZ? And then we can have them fill out a Google review. And then essentially, not only is that going to help you with marketing, but that's also going to review, get your Google reviews up as well. Depending if you use Yelp or not, we can also do a Yelp if you're looking to do Google and Yelp. But we can help you in that aspect as well, if that makes sense. Okay. So what are your thoughts on this whole presentation? Anything that you want to add on? Anything that you want to essentially optimize more for?
No, we can get it to where it can book my calendars and stuff. That'll be a lot of headache and do the callbacks.
Okay, solid. Well, where do you want to go from here then?
I don't know. What do I need to go from here?
Yeah, so typically, if we do move forward here today, we can definitely get builds up right away. So our developers, I'll tell them we can build this out as soon as possible. But typically what we can do here is once you are finished with that, you'll fill this form out. So this is typically a form. Once you do fill out this form, and I'll definitely send you over an agreement. So once I do send you over an agreement after this call, make sure to fill that out, since obviously we won't get working until we fill out that agreement out, right? So make sure to go through that agreement, sign that agreement as well. And once you do that, then we can definitely move forward in terms of making sure that we build everything out, right? Once you do fill out this form, right, it's just a typical form, right? It's just a form date when you started, and what's your full name, your business name as well. And typically once you do fill out this form, that's when the timer clicks. The timer starts for us. Typically, it takes us anywhere from 7 to 10 days to fully build out the system. But since this is a pretty, simple system, and it really won't take us too long, it should take us anywhere from 5 to 7 days to really, fully finish out this system that we create for you. If that makes sense.
Have where I can go in there and put all of my existing clients in there, correct?
Correct. And that's when we'll have another onboarding call. So the next call, once we do move forward with this, we'll have another call. Well, we're essentially going to import all the data from your spreadsheet into the systems that we create for you. So that's when we'll have another call. Once we do move forward with this, we can book it on, I believe, sometime down this week, or what we could do is we can also schedule it for next week. And then that's when we can pretty much make sure that everything's imported into the systems that we create for you. And now you'll have full access to that.
Okay. And what is there a monthly fee or anything like this?
No monthly fee at all, just because everything we do here is feasible. $1,500 a month for where you're at right now, I don't really think that is feasible. And I did talk to my developer. So this $1,500 is one time, it's one flat, and we do have a guarantee, like I mentioned. If you don't see the value, if you don't see the results in the next 45 days, then we'll be more than happy to give you the money back, the investments, along with working with you for free until you do.
All right. So there's no monthly subscription after we're set up?
No, and it'll be on the agreement. Everything will be on the agreement. There's no monthly fees. It's one-time investment, and the investment pays for itself. So yeah, no.
Basically, just trying to put it all out there. I'm paying $1,500 for software, correct?
Correct. No monthly fees, nothing like that.
So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Get down, honey. Get down. It's definitely got me interested, because everything else that I've spent money on has been some kind of subscription to it, moving forward and everything.
And that's what we optimize for, right? I mean, we want to make sure that even if you do pay the $1,500, right, we're not going to just build out the system and leave it at that. We're going to make sure that it keeps on, optimizing, because at the end of the day, with these systems in place, it's best to always optimize it for more. For example, like I mentioned, having the AI voice agent. Right now, I don't think that's going to really move the needle forward for you. But sometime down the line, once you do get your calendars pretty booked up, then yeah, it's going to be probably necessary, right? So everything that we do here is one-time investments. Once you do that investment, then it's pretty much the system is yours for you to keep, or unless you just shut down the business, right? But it's for yours forever, right? But once that investment is paid for, if you want to optimize for more systems, then yeah, it'll be more. But everything in terms of just having the system in place, building it out, it's all one flat. No subscriptions, no monthly charges.
So when they call in, are they going to get me or AI?
They'll get you. If you want an AI voice agent implemented, it'll probably be the AI, but you don't need that right now. That's just extra money you're putting in that you don't need.
So if I tell a customer to go online and book, I would have a email address or something to send them or a link to send them to book.
Correct.
For example, if they call me want to book the appointment and I'm busy and I can tell them, hey, I can let the system book you.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that the system would be able to handle.
Correct. So if let's go through it, right? So if a customer comes in, they call you and let's say you're out on the field, or you're somewhere busy, right? What you can do is you can essentially say, hey, email my email, or go onto our website, and you should see like a chat bot, so they can always talk to an AI chat bot to book on an appointment. They can also email you as well. So once you email them, we can have an automated email sequence where where you send, instead of you always having to be at the desk, your email can pretty much automate a link, like a booking link with resources. You send them over to them. So even if you do call, or even if you do say like, hey, just shoot me a text message saying like, hey, I want to book on, then we can have a system, built out for you that automates an automatic text message saying like, hey, I see that you called me. I was pretty busy, couldn't get back to you. So essentially just creates an automated link that they can book on as well. So it's multiple ways that they can book on: website, email, phone call, SMS messages. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can we? This is my slow time, which is what I told you a while ago.
Sure.
And it's also tax season for me to have to. I got a lot of expenses coming out. What are the odds of us waiting a couple of months to March when everything picks up and I'm able to have a little extra cash to pay for this? Would that be something feasible that I can do?
In terms of us getting started, right? Usually we like to get started right away, just because when we do get more clients coming in, our prices will be a little bit more higher. That's why this investment is 1,500, right? We're working with a couple of clients right now at the moment, 20 specifically. And the reason why we're working with them right now on why, is because most of our clients are very feasible on the prices that we have to offer, right? Most of the other companies that you probably see are mostly subscriptions, on top of it being $5,000 a month, right? So what we can do is, if it comes down to it, what we can do is we can do a payment plan of 2 months. So instead of it being 1,500 today, it can be $750 today, and then the next month it'll be $750. So like I said, that's what most of our clients are doing: 2 payment plans. It doesn't have to be all at once. But if you don't want to do the 1,500 today, we can do the $750 and we can get started right away. Okay. You want to go from here? You want to do that 750?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So give me a quick second here, Robbie. Let me just shoot you over this form. So while I create you that payment link for the 750, feel free to fill out this form that I send you right now. So let me know if that comes through to your end. Should be a form to enrollment success. Let me know if that comes through.
Yep.
Okay, so feel free to fill that out, and then let me just shoot you over this